The North American Indigenous Games is a multi-sport event, but it's really bigger than that. It's an experience. It's sport competition, but also the celebration of culture for Indigenous people.
The games are life-changing. A lot of the places that we go to are places where in history, Indigenous people have not been able to practice their culture and looked down upon. So creating that environment where it's a supportive environment for them to share their culture and people want to know about it, it's hugely impactful for them and the 7 generations beyond them.
In our planning, it was really important for us to remove as many barriers as possible so they could just focus on athleticism, on competition, and on celebrating everything in between that. The games mean a lot to me because I was able to participate in many different ways, first as an athlete and then as a mission staff and now as the host society. And for me, the games were able to allow me to celebrate being an Indigenous person, being an Indigenous woman. It taught me to celebrate who I am. So we worked quite closely with Esri Canada to really create this process of planning out the venues and using the GIS online tool that allowed us to create all of the maps for all of our venues, which included the exterior but also the interior. And from that, we could plan out all of our spaces and all of the items we needed to actually put in those spaces.
So as we're putting things together in our warehouse and separating them by venue and by sport, it was very easy to be able to look up and go, you need 9 tables, there is 9 there, or 8 tables, and to be able to change that instantaneously and comment to someone, the impacts is hard to express of how big it was.
In addition to setting up our venue spaces, we were actually able to plot all of our pageantry and all of our wayfinding signage throughout the venues as well. It was really important for us to make sure that the placement of each of those signs were critically planned so that people could understand how to make their way through the venues and where they needed to be. If we didn't have the plan and tools from Esri Canada, it would have made our job a lot more difficult. So the fact that the apps that we partnered with Esri Canada on were able to create efficiencies for us in planning our spaces, it really allowed us to focus on the details that mattered for the athletes, to create those experiences for them, and to create those safe spaces for them as well.
The work we do here at Esri Canada is really important, and it's very exciting to be able to see its application in the real world. Those of us who work for Esri Canada understand the power of GIS to solve real-world problems. The really exciting piece is enabling other people to see the power of the GIS and location intelligence, to see the bigger picture that maybe people haven't seen or can't see through looking at spreadsheets or Word documents.
As an Indigenous person, to be in a city where you're usually the minority, but you look around and there's 5,000 other people that look like you, that sound like you, that have similar experiences to you, it's really a truly empowering feeling. To be able to bring those games to Jabukduk, to Halifax, to Mi'kma'ki, we're hoping that we're able to share that with the 5,000 Indigenous participants that came here. But not only that, we're hoping to extend beyond that and to share that with all of the people who were able to attend the games, Indigenous or non-Indigenous. I think whether you're Indigenous or non-Indigenous, there's a lot you can learn from these games. And it's a good way to connect people.